I was going to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, but given the news that I received yesterday, I'm not really in the mood to now. Because for whatever reason, Amazon's version of Like a Dragon slash Yakuza, for whatever reason, they have decided that they are not going to look at the source material and the actors have never played the game. How many times is this gonna happen? How many? Of all the franchises in the world, Yakuza is the one you have to play. I can't even sit here and describe it to you and it will make sense. I can't do that. I can break it down for you, but you will never understand why this is a global sensation until you sit down and play the game. It's like trying to explain the One Piece story to somebody in 10 minutes. It's not really going to work properly. I can give you the cliff notes. Yeah, there's a tough guy and he fights gangsters and he saves the girl. There's too much going on in the games. You are adapting this legendary franchise, and as you can tell by the tone in my voice, it's my favorite franchise. You're adapting it and you've never played it before. Let me just read to you what these guys said. And this is on Games Radar, right? They said, speaking to Games Radar, SDCC, following the reveal of the show's first teaser trailer, the actor duo, and this is referring to the guy playing Kiryu and the guy playing Nishikiyama. The actor duo spoke passionately about the series, but had arguably a surprising answer when we asked them whether they played the games ahead of shooting, either for research or for fun. Now, you would think in a game as expansive and the scope of Yakuza, you would play them. Surely you would play them. Not only has neither of them played the game, they've never played the game, but they also went on to reveal that the team behind the new Amazon show actually asked them to avoid doing so. Imagine that. The galaxy brains at Amazon told them, don't play it. He explained they had their reasons. I would love to know your reasons. I know these games, everybody in the world knows these games, but I haven't played them. I'd like to try them, but they had to stop me because they wanted to, for the character in the script, explore from scratch. That's why we decided to not play. They then added on to that as if you need to do more damage. Kaku emphasizes that whilst their show does continue the legacy of the games, they also wanted to put their own stamp on it. He concludes, I definitely knew the property very well, but I didn't realize the franchise was this globally big. How did you know the property very well without playing it? Please explain that to me. How could you possibly know? This is not Grand Theft Auto, okay? It's not a streamlined gangster game. You cannot understand why Yakuza is such a global sensation without playing it. I literally can't sit here and explain it to you. If I do, which I'm going to attempt to do, and you've never played Yakuza before, if you're not cultured enough to have ever picked up these games, or if you're from somewhere in the world where you were never afforded these games, I'm so sorry that you've lived through that reality. I'm going to try and explain it to you in the best way that I can, and it's not going to make sense. We decided we would make sure we would do our own version, relive the characters, take their spiritual elements, and embody them on our own. There was a clear line we wanted to draw, but everything on the bottom was respect. No, just a flat no. How many times, Hollywood? And I don't even know if this is Hollywood. These are Japanese actors. Now, I spoke to someone about the whole Yasuke drama in Japan via email, and he reached out to me on Twitter and told me that this is something that is happening in Japan. They're adapting animes into live action and they're not respecting the source material. Let me explain something to you. Amazon, Netflix, whoever's listening, whoever's watching this, the source material is there. Why would you take the chance? The Yakuza fan base is the kind of fan base where if you don't respect the property, they're going to let you know. I mean, most fan bases are like that anyway. It happened with Cowboy Bebop. It's happened with multiple other things. Do you guys remember Dragon Ball Evolution? If you've got the source material there and it's already established, people already love it. Save yourself the energy of putting your own spin on it that nobody asked for and just do what happens in the games. Now, in the off chance that you are able to craft something that sits on its own as, you know, an independent piece of Yakuza medium that everybody can respect, I will eat my words, but I cannot see that happening. The reason I can't see that happening is because it's because of the kind of game that Yakuza is. There was a time where I wouldn't have mind if Hollywood took creative liberties with certain things and they tried their hand at different pieces of media. I remember when Godzilla came out in 1998. I absolutely loved that film. Now that Godzilla is drastically different to the Godzilla that we have in everything else. And it's not that it's as good, but it was its own thing and I actually enjoy it. And when I go back and watch it, yeah, Godzilla looks like a gigantic dinosaur in that film. and his children are basically, or her children, I can't remember if it was male or female in the movie, but however it gave birth, because I don't know how it reproduced. The children look like velociraptors, but the film was actually surprisingly good. Back in the day, Hollywood was able to put their own spins on things and produce really cool things. Pirates of the Caribbean was just a Disney fun fair ride. It wasn't anything. There was nothing attached to it. And somehow they took that, and the trilogy, the original trilogy, right? The Black Pearl, was it called Dead Man's Chest, I think, and then the third one, World's End. Fantastic films. The third Pirates of the Caribbean film to this day is one of my favorite films of all time, with my single favorite shot in all of cinema. You know when Cutler Beckett is coming down the stairs and everything's exploding around him because I think Jack and the Flying Dutchman, the Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman, are just shooting the East India Trading Company. They were shooting them from both sides. That shot of him walking down the stairs is the single greatest shot in cinema history as far as I'm concerned. That's my favorite. So there was a time where Hollywood would take something and they'd make it their own. I'd be like, let's see what happens, but not today. Now, I don't know where Amazon sits on the whole Hollywood thing. These are Japanese actors. Apparently, it's an all Japanese cast. I don't know where they sit on the whole Hollywood thing. But judging for what people that watch my channel that are from Japan have been telling me, Japan's not been doing a very good job of adapting things either. If you have the source material there, guys, why do you do this? How many times does this happen and then you're surprised when it tanks? Look what happened to Cowboy Bebop. There's certain things, A, that you shouldn't touch. But Yakuza is one that I'm like, you could probably pull it off. You probably could. It's about gangsters. If you respect the source material, you do the comedy properly, people will probably get invested. Now, the reason that you can't just put your own spin on Yakuza without ever watching it is because in this game, they juggle so many themes, right? There's a very serious tone to it and there's a very comedic tone. If you've played the Yakuza games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This game has everything in it. It's my favorite franchise because everything it just does better than everybody else. Is it one of my favorite beat 'em ups? Yes. Is it one of my favorite RPGs? Yes. Does it have better mini games than pretty much everything going? Yes. Does it have a very good semi-open world that looks very alive? You know, when I went to Japan, I actually recognized places that were in Yakuza, from obviously Kabukicho and Kamurocho, they're the same, and Dotonbori and Sotonbori are the same. And then I recognized places in Yokohama, recognized places in Okinawa. The game is just beaming with life. I can't even put into words how good the game is. There's so many different aspects to it. I know a lot of the times, yeah, some people come to this channel and they're like, oh, you shill for Tekken. I don't shill for Tekken. If there was going to be a game that you could get me to shill for, I say it in 4K, it would be Yakuza. They have produced game after game after game that has been fantastic. My boy Dwayne is the one that turned me over to Yakuza. I got into it quite late compared to like some of the like long-term fans. I've been a fan for a long time now, but I think I was quite late compared to some other people that I know that play it. But since I started playing it, I've never stopped. I'm still playing Infinite Wealth right now. I go back to play some of the other ones to finish off some of the side stories. The worlds are so expansive. There's side stories where they're so random. Like one of them will be a matchmaking one where you're supposed to go on a date with somebody. It turns out matchmaking is actually just a woman called Miss Matchmaking, and you go on this whole sub story, and then there's a whole story about this guy and what were the names of it? The little toy cars, right? The RC cars. You do a whole story. That side story spans from like I can't remember which one it started in, but I know it ended in Yakuza 0 when you go to Hiroshima and he's there and he's no longer doing that and he's like in a fish market or something. And then you got the serious side of it, which they're gonna be adapting Yakuza 1, which I don't know why they're doing 1 first. I would have done 0 first, or maybe you can do 1 and then 0. But if you haven't played the games, I don't know how you're going to get this right. I mean, it was a massive risk when One Piece came out on Netflix. So I was like, One Piece is like the most anime you could get. There's so many weird things in One Piece. How are you even going to adapt that? But to be fair to them, even though they didn't know everything, even though there were some subtle changes I didn't like, for example, when Luffy was on the boat with Kobe, and Kobe was talking about him wanting to become a Marine, or he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. In the Netflix adaptation, Luffy gave him a very heroic speech. In the anime version, Luffy just said, bro, I don't care what you're doing, man. I'm going to go be king of the pirates. Like, there's slight changes I didn't appreciate. But if I'm being fair to the One Piece live action, they did a very good job compared to all the other schlop that we get from anime adaptations. Yakuza is one of those series that you have to play. There's too much going on. I read another article that they're not even going to have karaoke in the first season. Now, that might be because they don't actually understand that karaoke is a big part of the Yakuza franchise, or maybe they're going to save it for season 2. The thing with Yakuza is that it's such a big series that you could leave things out of season 1. You could leave out a bowling minigame, you could leave out a darts minigame, you could leave out you could leave out karaoke, you could leave out the RC karting, you could leave out loads of side stories because there are so many, there's like hundreds, and you can include them later on. And I don't expect them to include every single one, but I expect to see some side stories. I expect us to get a couple of episodes that have nothing to do with the main story, and Kiryu's just off doing something random. But if they've never played the game, how are they going to know that? How would they know that there are the most wacky side stories? There's a side story where this little boy is trying to get to a dispenser, like a vending machine. God, my mind's fried right now because I'm so annoyed. A vending machine, right? He's trying to get to a vending machine. There's 2 old ladies in the way of him. Kiryu agrees to help him get to the vending machine because he wants to get something out of there, but he doesn't want anyone to see. Kiryu gets over there. It turns out the vending machine was dispensing adult magazines. So Kiryu's met with this dilemma of, should he give this little kid this thing, or should he send him back home packing because this kid's gotten on the train to come to this vending machine? It's really dumb side stories like that that make no sense. There's even one with a Yakuza boss who has a fetish for being in diapers, and you accidentally stumble into his room where him and all the other gangsters are, and they're all in diapers and they're being looked after by maids, and you get into this whole funny side story. It's not going to have any of that if you haven't played the games. Now, I would love to eat my words. Trust me, I don't want to be right on this. I don't want to come back and make a told you so, because I'm going to be doing reviews of this show episode by episode. I don't want to come back here and say I told you guys so, I knew it was going to be garbage, I knew it was going to be slow. I want to come back and say, do you know what? I don't know how they did it because they didn't play the games, but it was good. That's what I'd like. But I have zero faith in this being good. Zero. How many times has Hollywood done this? How many times? The Borderlands movie's just come out. I haven't seen it yet because I'm not a Borderlands fan. I don't plan on watching it. But everybody that I know that is a fan of Borderlands is saying, I don't know what I just watched, it's garbage. My friend said in the first 5 minutes, he already knew this is going to be trash.
Borderlands movie is finally out, and Jiminy Christmas, it's atrocious.
When I saw them cast Kevin Hart, even though I don't play Borderlands, I played one of them, I think Borderlands 3, and I played it for a very short time. Even when I saw that, I was like, Kevin Hart? Okay, I guess we'll see. And it turns out not a single person that I've spoken to has said good things about it. It's so easy, guys. The blueprint is there. It is already, you can turn your brains off. You literally just have to play the games and copy them. That's all you got to do. Turn the game on and copy it. That's it. That is it. I'm so confused. It's like the laziest way, but the most effective way to get the best results. You want to please the fans, right? You want to make us happy. You know this. You've worked out this game as a global sensation, but you haven't worked out that if we don't pay attention to the little details about the characters and the little nuances, the funny interactions that Kiryu and Majima have, the brotherhood that Akiyama and Kiryu have, the side stories with the other Yakuza members, even the female characters, and even though like the female characters they're not as important in Yakuza 1 other than Kiryu's love interest, because that's going to play into his story of Nishikiyama. If I could be here all day just going, what the fuck? Why? Why, guys? The worst thing is that you didn't even know the property was global. That's the problem here. You're not even aware of the scope of this franchise. Like I said before, if you haven't played Yakuza, you're doing yourself a massive, massive disservice. Now, luckily for you guys, I'm sponsored by Instant Gaming, and Instant Gaming's got a great deal on some of the Yakuza games. Take a look at this. Now, if you click on my affiliate link and you want to get a bit cultured, you come over to the Instant Gaming website and you have a little scroll through. You see here, Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7. It's got 80% off. You come over here to Yakuza 4 Remastered, great game, absolutely loved it. 92% off, £1.40, guys, can't go wrong there. Yakuza Kiwami, £5.87. You got Yakuza Kiwami 2, one of the best entries in the franchise, amazing soundtrack, £6.13. Guys, you can't go wrong here. You know you need to get your hands on Yakuza 0. There are so many good Yakuza games. There's not a single Yakuza game that you'll find on here that is not good. Yakuza 6, my personal favorite, the Song of Life. So use my affiliate link, go to Instant Gaming, try out the Yakuza games, understand why I'm so infuriated by this decision, And let me know what you think of them if you do decide to try them out. I don't know how many live adaptation failures it's going to take for people to realize that let's just respect the source material. You know, Henry Cavill walked away from The Witcher because they would not respect the source material. At least he's got some integrity. That's why when Henry Cavill brings out a film, I'll go and watch it. I'll support the man. I like his work. I like the fact that he's actually locked in with the gamers. He pays attention. He understands that we care very, very, very much about these characters. Now, Kiryu is one of the most popular gaming characters of all time. He's the most requested guest character for Tekken. I've seen his name coming up since Tekken 7. However long ago that was, what, 8 years ago now? They've been saying Kiryu, 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 want Kiryu. Did you guys watch Death Note on Netflix? That's what not respecting the source material looks like. I want to put my own spin on things. Who are you making it for? Are you making it for yourself to sit in your room and watch it? Or are you making it for us? Are you making it for the people that go out and play the Yakuza games? Or are you making it for yourself, your family, your friends to sit around and watch? Because if you are, just saying, and it's like, okay, whatever, it's your money, do whatever you want. But if you're making it for us, if you're doing it to satisfy us, where is the logic here? I'm so confused. Now, Yakuza Infinite Wealth is the latest entry in the franchise, and with that, you've got Yakuza 0, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, Yakuza 3, 4, 5, 6, Like a Dragon with Ichiban. Then you've got the Judgment games, Judgment and Lost Judgment. Then you've got Infinite Wealth. On top of that, you've got Ishin, you've got Kenzan, and you also have the Black Panther games on PSP, both of which I finished as well, and I actually quite like them. There's not a single Yakuza game, including Dead Souls, that you'll get me saying I didn't like. I liked all of them. They're full of so much personality and charm. There's things that Yakuza games get away with that no other series could get away with. There's characters that have been showing up in the Yakuza franchise with the same like sort of face model, but it's become part of its charm now. It's one of the greatest games of all time. It's my favorite of all time. I'm very disappointed to hear what they're doing with it. Now, the guy that is playing Kiryu, he had a massive part in Kamen Rider. And Kamen Rider, for those of you who know as well, I'm a big Kamen Rider fan. I love Kamen Rider. So when I heard that he was the one that was cast, you know, because he does a lot of his own stunts, I was like, okay, cool. This is good. This is terrible news. This is awful news. I just come back from the gym. I'm still feeling pumped. I should be unwinding right now, but I'm not. Do you know what I'm going to do? Just going to go and play my Infinite Wealth. And when this comes out, guys, I'll be doing reviews per episode. If they drop the whole thing at once, I'll watch the whole thing. We'll do a review. If there's any other Yakuza YouTubers out there that want to talk about it, let me know. Because again, this is my favorite franchise and this is just extremely disappointing information, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Anyways, guys, that's my rant for the day. Gonna go and cool off a little bit. I'll catch you guys very soon. Take care and peace.